Hello, hello. Thank you so much to you who is joining us right now. Yeah, just to introduce is that today we are meeting on the talent mindset coaching session as usual. Yeah, this should be our eighth meeting. Yeah, this year we started in January. January was it 10th? Yeah, so we are discussing different things, starting from career development, coming to culture and language here in Finland, and we are also discussing other day-to-day things that we are interacting with as we are living here in Finland. And the good thing is we are discussing many other things that concern other people as well who are living in other countries as well. So, for instance, today I have invited a speaker who is supposed to talk about cybersecurity. Yeah, and shortly I will start to discuss just to give an introductory talk so that we can have a clue what is cybersecurity and why should cybersecurity concern us. Yes, so but I'm gonna discuss this very shortly. Yes, but before I discuss that, I would like to introduce again. Perhaps you must have already heard this from the social media. Yeah, but perhaps I'm going to have to introduce again what is talent mindset coaching and what is our motive and what is our goal. So here is the thing. Talent mindset coaching is a program which I have initiated, and the main motive for this program is to help the internationals who are living here in Finland. And when I say internationals, I prefer specifically to the immigrants. Why do I refer to the immigrants? Because at the moment we can all see, I believe, if you are not the one who is affected, then you must have a friend who is affected. We are currently going through a very tough time, especially when it comes to finding a job. It is very difficult to finding a job. Now, let me clarify. It is difficult finding a job to many people, including the Finns. Yeah, but as an immigrant in Finland, you are standing far in a disadvantaged position. You are standing far in a disadvantaged position. So, starting from the neutral point is that uh, everyone is struggling because we have very few opportunities, very few vacancies. Yeah, versus many job seekers. So you stand a very small chance. That is a neutral point of view. Yeah, but still, when we go one step behind, then you come to learn that we have the stereotypes against some people who are coming from certain regions. That also works against you. But beyond the stereotype, we still have the language difference that also plays the major factor into affecting the likelihood that you may find any employment. Yeah, but beyond the language, we have the cultural differences. Some of the practices that some of the immigrants. Please, you're welcome. Okay, please, could you tell him to come? Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, so beyond the language, we have the cultural differences, and when we are discussing about the cultural differences, some of the practices may not necessarily be wrong, but perhaps they are not acceptable here in Finland based on their ways of living. For instance, going to somebody, sitting with them and start to talk to them without having any appointment. In my country, for instance, that's not a big deal. It is important to let somebody know when you are going to visit them, but please suit yourself. Yes, I have already started the session, and this is just a pre-talk, so suit yourself, get time to accustom yourself, and then when you're ready, we can start. Yeah, so I'm just discussing briefly about the talent mindset coaching, telling them, why do we need this program? Yeah, so maybe I can just start all over on your benefit, because you are the speaker. You need to know the context. You need to know the context of my discussion. Yeah, so I was just telling them that talent mindset coaching program is the program that we have established specifically for the immigrants We are targeting all internationals, and when we say international, Finnish people are not excluded. The term international, it means many nations are included together. So when we have Finland, Sweden, maybe Norway, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Ghana, then all this makes international. So when we say international, actually we don't exclude the Finns. Yeah, but when we say the immigrants, then we specifically mean those people who came from other countries to Finland. Yeah, so just to repeat few words that I've just spoken before, yeah, on the context of my speaker, yeah, I mentioned that, it's equally difficult to everyone when it comes to looking for a job in Finland. It is equally difficult, yeah, to everyone, including the Finns. And if you must have, or if you have followed the media to what is going on, you must have seen a lot of people have lost their jobs from January this year. A lot of people, and majority of them being the Finns, because the Finns are the majority of people who have been employed. Yeah, so when we say majority of people have lost their jobs, you have to know that majority of those people who have lost their jobs are the Finns. Yeah, and actually the term lost their jobs is not technically right, but morally maybe it could be right. And I'm saying technically it's not right because most of the employments, they were given on the basis of fixed contracts. Maybe you might get a 6-month contract, 1-year contract, 2-year contract, sometimes maybe 5-year contract. Yeah, so most of the contracts, they were being continued after they have ended, and this has been going on for quite some time. Yeah, and I remember for me, for example, this affected me because as an immigrant, you need to apply for your resident permit, and for your resident permit to get a quick and easy response, you need to have a very good contract. And your contract, the best one is the one which is permanent, and of course it needs to have enough salary. Yeah, so I used to reject most of the contracts which are 1-year contract, 2-year contract, something like that, because I wanted to get to be assured that I will get the resident permit that I'm applying for. Yeah, so I'm quite aware of this fixed contract. Yeah, so most of the people in the employment companies and offices, they have been hired via that type of contract. Yeah, at the end of the day, most people have been losing, now after the changing of policies from the government, most of the contracts that were fixed, they were not renewed. So if your contract is ending, then you are gone. Simple like that, you are gone. Yeah, and this has happened to a lot of people in the nursing. Yeah, I hear actually over 600, I don't know how what's the exact number, but we have very big number of nurses whose jobs were discontinued because of their contracts. Yeah, but not only nurses, even some of the people who were working from the municipal offices in various cities, they have lost their jobs just because their contracts has reached an end and it was not able to continue. Yeah, so everyone is struggling when it comes to finding jobs. But I will state again, as an immigrant in Finland, you are standing in a disadvantaged position in relation to a Finn. Yeah, in relation to a Finn. And I mentioned that one of the reasons I'm saying you are standing in a disadvantaged position is because, number one, we have the stereotype. Yeah, some of the people, yeah, so Mr. Suubi, I will do the pre-talk until 45, and then you can take over. So you can continue to prepare your yes. Yeah, so one of the factors that put immigrants in the very disadvantaged position is the stereotype. Some of the people have the stereotype speaking against them. Hello, please, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Yes, and just to let you know, I'm live streaming on TikTok, and I'm also recording here. Mostly it's recording the speaker, but maybe when we are having the conversation, you might be heard. Please let me know if you don't want your sound, even your image, to be on the camera, so that I can exclude you. So I believe I'm clear enough, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I already had started about 10 minutes ago. I'm just doing some kind of a pre-talk, and then soon I will hand over the table to Mr. Suubi to continue. Yeah, so number one factor, we have the stereotype. Some of the people, the stereotype speaks for them. For instance, I gave this example in a couple of my videos that I've discussed. For example, I come from Tanzania. When a European come to Tanzania, the stereotype that is of a European man or a woman always works for him, because in Tanzania we believe all white people are honest, they are hardworking, they are very much intelligent. So if you're coming as a European to Tanzania and you ask for any kind of support or something like that, you will get support very quickly. And in fact, even if you're looking for a job, it should be very easy to get one. Yeah, but when we reverse the table and we come to Europe as an African, the stereotype is always speaking against me as an African man. Oh, and of course, I hear the same thing goes for the Asians and something like that. Yeah, because the stereotype is, these people, maybe they're not much well educated, corruption, theft, and something like that. So this factor also plays some, it plays some role in affecting your employability, because some of the employers who have not yet had any interaction with people from some of the countries that their stereotype speaks against them, then you are very likely to be rejected. So that's another factor. But we have also the cultural differences. Some practices from some of the people may be irritating to the employers, so they may rather choose to work with some people that maybe they have their cultures going along with them. Yeah, so those were the few factors I mentioned that it works. They make it even harder for you as an immigrant to find a job here in Finland. Yeah, and I must speak about these things. Yeah, because most of the people, they don't have any idea about these things. All they hear is, the language is the factor, you're not employed, and as a result, you don't do anything else to invest in other areas. Yeah, and if you don't invest in other areas, probably you may be rejected again and again and again, because you don't know exactly why you are being rejected, and probably you may never change the very thing, same thing which affects you. So this is the reason we have the talent mindset coaching. The main motive here is to discuss about the mindset on both sides, on the side of the employer, on the side of the job seekers. What are the mindset that we are supposed to have? Yeah, and one thing I should emphasize, despite discussing the factors that maybe speak against immigrants, this has nothing to do about hate. I agree there could be some acts of racism at some point, yeah, but I believe major part of it is all about the stories about some people, which you can never avoid. Yeah, and one of the solutions is to engage in some sort of a discussion. So that was just a brief talk. Today we will be discussing about cyber security and cyber threats, and we have our speaker, the expert, Mr. Suubi Lubaale, will come and talk to us. Yeah, maybe I would like just to ask a few questions, especially to my audience who has managed to come here. What do you understand about cyber security or cyber threat? Maybe if I can start on the back there.
Well, when we discuss cybersecurity, I believe we are trying to protect all the devices we use.
You are very right. You are very right. How about you?
I would agree what she said, because this is not really that familiar for me.
Okay. That's a fantastic answer. I love that. Maybe if I can ask a secondary question after that. Why do you think this topic is not familiar to you?
I would assume that I'm not really familiar with any IT stuff or something like this, so I'm just here to learn about them.
Fantastic, fantastic. Of course, just like what I thought. But have you been connecting to the maybe Wi-Fi's in any of the place? Have you maybe at some time you needed an internet? Have you connected to any of the Wi-Fi's?
Oh, yes.
How about you? Have you connected to any Wi-Fi's in the public places? You're in need of internet and you just need to connect. Have you done that?
Always.
Always. Fantastic. Yeah, I will see if there's anyone else who has commented something here. No comments yet. Well, if you now that's just one of the example. If you have ever been connected to any of the Wi-Fi's, then cybersecurity is a critical topic that you must understand. Yeah, I would just say in 1 minute that, and actually I made a video today and I discussed this, that probably nobody has ever told you that if you connect to any public Wi-Fi in any of the public places, uh, basically you are just giving access to anyone to access your device using the public Wi-Fi, especially those who are titled free Wi-Fi. Maybe you just go to the city center and then you see some banner somewhere, free Wi-Fi, please connect. Yeah, if you connect, then someone can easily access your device and they can see whatever you are doing. They can see the information you are putting in your browser, your banking credentials, whatever. Someone can just take it. Yeah, but of course, there are some specific measures that you have to take. For instance, it has been mentioned the use of VPN. Have you heard about VPN?
Sure. No, I think it's not familiar.
Fantastic. That tells us how important today's topic is. Please, Mr. Suubi, welcome to the table. Thank you so much. And you may introduce yourself so other people can also be familiar.
Thank you. Let me just plug this in.
You need some power. I have an extension here.
I can connect it here also.
I think it's more convenient here, so it's close. Okay, if you need anything, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't connect the HDMI.
Okay. And you're very tall. I need to adjust my camera.
Yeah. So I don't know if I need to stand on this side.
Anyway, which
is
good enough for you.
So that people can see. Yeah, so thank you so much for this opportunity. And it's a real honor to be able to come and share some few things. I know that Ezekiel called me an expert, but I believe we are all experts in our own rights in whatever we do. So today I'll just share with everyone online and physically about the fundamentals of cybersecurity. So I'm not here to teach, but I'm here to share experience, and we can combine whatever we both know, whether little or small. We still want to help one another. So thank you. So just to get straight into it, so who am I? So my name is Suubi Lubaale. I'm a student, a fourth-year student at Savonia University of Applied Sciences. I'm currently in my last semester of studies, so I should be graduating, hopefully, God willing, in the next 2 months. So I'm currently working as an information security intern at Landis Gyre, a company based in Uvascular. And I'm also in the process of starting my own social enterprise with the aim of universalizing, democratizing, and simplifying cybersecurity for everyone. So that's who I am, and I'm also a cybersecurity champion in my own right, because I've overcome a couple of obstacles along the way to be where I am today, and also to go to where I want to be in the future. So what made me choose cybersecurity is something that many people usually ask, because people wonder, why do you choose cybersecurity? Did you choose it because of the money, the salary? But the answer that I give people is quite shocking, because I didn't choose cybersecurity because of the financial implications about it. But I chose cybersecurity because of the passion. I wanted to drive an impact. The same way Ezekiel is doing the talent mindset program to drive impact. So I decided to choose cybersecurity because I wanted to make an impact. So just a brief background. So I was in my third year of studies in Savonia, and I was quite confused because I was lost. I was wondering, okay, I'm studying IoT, we are doing a lot of programming, mathematics, physics, all those things, but I never felt a relation with all of those things. So I took a step back from everything and I tried a lot of things, as my girlfriend would know. I tried videography, photography. Wanted to be a personal trainer at some point, but things didn't go the way I planned, because in as much as there was the interest, there was no relation between me and those things because they were more of hobbies. But when I thought of it, looking at what I would enjoy and also the sacrifice that people have made for me to be here, I looked at it and I saw that I need to do something to drive an impact, because where I come from, it's not as advanced as where I am in Finland. It's a third world country from Kenya. So um, coming to Finland is something whereby you are part of the small 1% who gets to come out of Kenya. So I wanted to drive an impact or to make an impact. So um, I decided to look into IT. I looked into uh, front-end development, trying to program, but it wasn't for me. I looked into artificial intelligence. I tried to force myself into it, but I didn't really feel that connection. So I heard about cybersecurity online. So I started watching a couple of videos from a couple of content creators on cybersecurity, and I found that this was a thing that matched with my soft skills, because I'm able to communicate with people. I'm able to analyze things, and some of those soft skills, when I looked at my soft skills and what the career needed, I saw that it fit perfectly like a glove. So I decided to take that step into cybersecurity, but it wasn't as easy as one might think it was. So, what truly is cybersecurity? So, as one of the members in the audience shared, it's about protecting devices. But I believe cybersecurity is something that we do every day, but we do it unconsciously, because even when we were accessing the building, there was an aspect of cybersecurity, because you first had to request access and then gain that access and access this room. For us to open our phones every day, we interact with cybersecurity controls because we input our passwords. For us to communicate with people back home in our home countries and even our friends, there's a security aspect, because for that privacy of communication to be retained, there needs to be secure communication protocols. When we purchase things online, there is a security aspect that we have, because you need to verify yourself. You need to put in your bank ID code before you complete a purchase. So there are things that we do subconsciously, but we don't necessarily know. But each and every one of us, we play a big part in cybersecurity and its growth. But sometimes we do it unconsciously. So how does the day of a cybersecurity professional look like? So in my case, I've been working as a information security intern. So my day starts quite early in the morning. I start my day with a word of prayer, because I believe in starting with prayer, and it prepares me for the day. Then I like to speak with my family, do a morning devotion. That's on my part. Try and build myself spiritually, because I believe in that wisdom that I acquire spiritually. It helps me with my work. Then in my daily work, for example, if I could share from the much I can share from my work, so I interact a lot with human beings, because we may think cybersecurity is about the technological things we see, but cybersecurity is about you and I, because in my day-to-day work, I communicate with many people from different departments because there are requests that come from different departments and you have to find ways to solve them. So I communicate a lot with people. Another thing that I do is there's a lot of analysis involved because in cybersecurity you need to have a keen eye to detail because you need to be able to spot even those things that people may necessarily overlook. You need to be able to spot them out and to see, okay, you spotted this out, then what? So the next thing is a lot of solution. You have to solve problems. And as I was telling, as I was speaking with Ezekiel earlier, it's about your value. So if you're unable to solve problems, when you bring a problem, you need to bring a solution to the table. So part of being a professional is not just relying on what is on the books, but relying on how you solve problems. So you need to be able to bring solutions to the table. You need to be able to solve challenges. And also another part of the day of a cybersecurity professional is mental resilience, because sometimes you solve things that may not at that point have predefined solutions. So if you're unable to think outside the box, then cybersecurity may be quite challenging for you because sometimes you may need to operate or you may need to solve problems instinctively. So there's a lot of instinctive problem solving that is part of the day-to-day activities of a cybersecurity professional. So you may wonder, why choose cybersecurity out of the other fields of IT? So as IT booms and digitalization happens, because right now over the past 2 years we've processed about 90% of the previous year's data in just 2 years. So there is a boom in digitalization because right now everything is done digitally. We attend school on Zoom or on certain platforms. We access our banking credentials online. We don't need to go to a bank like traditional methods. We don't, when we are purchasing things nowadays, we don't need to pay cash. Everyone is storing their money digitally. So the more technology advances, the more the need of security. Because as the lady in the audience said, it's about protecting people, protecting systems. So the more we put our information and our data, because for example, in my case, I have an email address, I would have a password, I would have my banking credentials, my personal identifier, my passport, all that information is stored digitally. So the more we digitalize and move from storing data physically to digitally, the more the need of security. Because right now there's a topic that we can't escape nowadays is artificial intelligence. We've heard of ChatGPT, and we all use ChatGPT in our daily activities nowadays. But if you think back 2 years ago, there was not much interaction with artificial intelligence. But do we know where our information goes when we ask ChatGPT, when we make prompts? Do we know that they aggregate the data and take it to one place and use it to improve searches for other people? We don't know those things. But we need to be able to retain our control of our information, because we all have information that we don't want the whole world to know about. And how would you feel if tomorrow you'd wake up and find the whole world knew your bank credentials or the new private things about you? We would all be sad. It would be a catastrophe. But for us to retain control of our information and our data, even as we digitalize, cybersecurity needs to advance. Right now, there's a gap in cybersecurity because, for example, in my home country, we need about 50,000 professionals every year in cybersecurity. But we are not able to meet that quota that is needed because it's about 3,500 professionals. So how do we meet that quota? Through collaborative education. So we come and we learn tips and tricks through programs like this. We come, we learn through each other, because there's an experience that you have that I don't have. So we learn through each other, we help each other, and we secure each other. Because there's a quote that says that when you're alone, you can go far, but when you're with others, you can go farther. So cybersecurity is dependent on the growth of other technological sectors. So the more they grow, the more the importance happens. And we need to move out of the dark and stop thinking that security is in the hands of other people, but we need to have control of our information. You need to control what you put out there, because you need to have a security mindset whereby you think of it, if this information would be accessed. Oh, welcome.
Sorry. Sorry for being late.
No problem.
Please, shoot yourself.
Yeah, so if this information that you see of value would be accessed by someone who you didn't want to have it. Let's say, for example, it's an image of you that probably you didn't, as you know, as our ladies, maybe you hadn't put your makeup and probably you had just come out of bed and you had taken a photo and you found it surfacing on the internet. It would be quite embarrassing. So that private information, we need to have it under control. So let's see what are the 3 simple steps to get into cybersecurity. So the first step, I believe, from my experience, would be understanding what impact you want to make in cybersecurity. So what do you want to do? Most of us are driven by financial gain. We want to gain resources. We survive on money because money runs the world. But what about the impact that you want to drive? What about the legacy that you want to create? So we need to look at what is the impact. Another thing, another simple step is to look at your T-shaped skills, your soft skills. Look at them and see, do my soft skills really align with this part of cybersecurity? Because cybersecurity, as per CISSP, has 8 distinct domains. So we think cybersecurity is one thing, but there are different domains within it. So there are different sectors within cybersecurity. So before getting into cybersecurity, you need to understand, am I good at coding? So should I become an ethical hacker, or am I good at talking to people and solving problems? So should I help defend systems? So those are some of the questions you can ask yourself. The last step would be documenting everything that you do, because one thing about getting into cybersecurity is we think that cybersecurity is about learning things, getting certifications. That is fine, but cybersecurity has advanced as per today. So when you apply for jobs, what the employers look for is, what projects has this person done? What solutions have they made on their own? Because when you get into a job, they won't necessarily rely on what have you learned, what is the certification that you have. They would appreciate it, but what they would appreciate more is your projects. Because in my case, when I was doing my certification, I made sure to create a portfolio because I wanted to document each and everything that I was doing in cybersecurity. Though at that time it didn't seem to make sense and it seemed to be challenging, but when I was applying for jobs, that was the thing that would stand out. Even if you're being rejected, they tell you, by the way, we loved your portfolio, we love the work you've done, we love the projects you've done, and within no time you'll find that portfolio that is taking you time to create will become one of the things that you'll value the most, because it's evidence of what you've done. Because part of being in cybersecurity is evidence. Because nowadays, especially us as internationals, or as I would say bluntly, as foreigners in Finland, the one thing that welcome. So the one thing that holds us back is that we don't have something to distinguish us from other people. And I would be very candid to say that from what I've seen, the job market is quite competitive. There are many people who are really qualified. You might be applying for, like I applied for an internship position, but there were people from masters, different sectors applying. But what makes you stand out is the value that you show them. Like, what are the projects you've done? Where is the evidence? What are some of the solutions you've made on your own? Because that shows them, okay, by the way, if we take Ezekiel and bring him onto our team, if we are faced with a problem and we are not there to help him, he can solve it on his own, because you need to be able to think independently. So the last thing would be how to excel in cybersecurity. So I wish I could give a direct answer that would assure you success in excelling in cybersecurity, but from my experience, I would say that excelling in cybersecurity, it starts with resilience, because you might not excel immediately. It might not be instantaneous, but if you keep on pushing, believe you me, that excellence, you'll find it with time. Another thing, and one thing that I spoke with Ezekiel and I emphasized on a lot, something that I came to learn this year, is showing your value, because you're just as valuable as what you show. Because we buy products. For example, we look at vehicles, like Tesla, for example. Do you know Tesla is not advertised digitally? They don't pay for any adverts. But why do we know Tesla? Because of the person behind Tesla. We all know Elon Musk. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, so Tesla is able to be one of the world's leading car manufacturers without investing heavily as much as Toyota and other companies in advertisements. But what makes them stand out is the value, because we all know the value of a Tesla. Because when we think about electric vehicles, the first thing that comes to your mind is a Tesla. When we think about comfort and elegance, we may think of Range Rover and all those things. But why do we know them? It's because they've shown their value. But it doesn't mean that Range Rover is the best car that is out there. But it's because the people behind it and Tesla have been able to showcase its value and its unique value proposition to other people, whereby elegance is synonymous with Range Rover, Porsche, those vehicles. And when you think of electric vehicles, you think of Tesla because of the value it's brought to the table. So one thing that I would urge each and every one of us here, regardless of it being cybersecurity or IT or whatever, be able to showcase your value. Because nowadays, one thing that people are not paying attention to or are overlooking is LinkedIn. Because I myself, I was very passive about LinkedIn until the beginning of this year. But when I began tapping into its hidden value, I began to see its benefit, because it opens opportunities to you across the world. It's not just Finland, but people get to see your value even from the ends of the earth, South Africa, the western part of the world, the eastern part. But when you're able to showcase your value, then people know, by the way, Ezekiel is synonymous with helping talents, because he's built his value, showcased his brand. But what if I have been doing talent helping, but I've been humble about it? And as you were saying yesterday, should you be humble in Finland? I believe you shouldn't be humble, because humility, yeah, we are taught to be humble, but will humility really put you in that position that you want to be in? Sometimes you need to be able to speak boldly and confidently about what you've done. Not that you're showing off, but you want to showcase what you've done. Because you might be humble and do a project, say, okay, this will stay on my computer, I'll keep this with myself, but the recruiters won't be able to see that special thing that you've done. So, as Ezekiel has been doing by leading by example, let's showcase our brands in whatever we are doing, not just limited to cybersecurity, but even across cybersecurity. The other thing with cybersecurity is, sorry. So, to excel in cybersecurity, you also need to be able to learn, because cybersecurity is always evolving. today what you might think is relevant today in 2 years' time is irrelevant, because it's always evolving and adapting, because each and every day there are new threats that emerge, because the sophistication of threat actors increases each and every time. So if you are stagnant, or if you are someone who you think you've learned to the top of your ability, cybersecurity may not be the thing for you, because you might find that you are outdated. Because nowadays, even with software that we use, when we see the new iPhone 15 has come out, in the next 2 years there's iPhone 18. So it always evolves. So cybersecurity always evolves. So you should also be able to evolve, and you should have that ability to be like a net. You know, when you cast a net into the ocean to fish out fish, you need a bigger net to catch bigger fish. So you need to be like a net. The more you want to get in cybersecurity, the bigger your capacity needs to be. So you need to be able to learn from people. You learn from talks, you learn from interacting with people, you learn from online resources. YouTube right now is one of the best resources to learn easily. You don't need to sit in a classroom like before, but with technology, there's videos online. You can learn on your own. You don't need to really be taught by someone, but you can teach yourself. You just need to have that drive from you, because we think that excellence needs to be driven by other people. We look at the systems in Kuopio, for example. We might say, oh, you know, the Kuopio city is not conducive for us to grow, but there are people succeeding in Kuopio. So the place that you might be finding challenging, there's someone succeeding, but because they have a different mindset to you and outlook on things. The other thing to excel in cybersecurity, I would say, is resilience. Because cybersecurity, personally, when I was learning about networking, learning about how do networks function, when we interconnect things, like as Ezekiel talked about, like Wi-Fi, learning about those things was quite challenging. But when you have that mental resilience, then excellence is on the horizon, because you know that even if you might not understand the concept today, there's still tomorrow. It might be challenging today, but if you approach it tomorrow with a fresh mind, you'll overcome it. And there's always obstacles in cybersecurity. There's always new challenges. There's always new threats that come up. But are you able to solve problems? Are you able to be mentally resilient, whereby you don't face a challenge and you think, okay, maybe I'll keep it for Ezekiel to solve it for me. But can you be proactive and say that I can solve this problem without him being there? So resilience and proactivity they go hand in hand, because when you're proactive, you're able to think, okay, I might not solve this problem today, but tomorrow I think I might stand a good chance at solving it. So those are the brief things I wanted to share on cybersecurity. I know it's not talking about what is cybersecurity, because we all know. We now have learned about those things. But what I wanted to share, as I told Ezekiel, was things that we might not find in a typical classroom, which is learning from each other's experiences, because I believe experience is the best teacher, better than anything you'd find in a course book, because your experience will teach me something that I might encounter today or tomorrow. So thank you for your time. And if you want to connect, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And it's been a pleasure having this opportunity to share with talents like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'm going to call you back. So,
Okay.
so be ready. Yeah, thank you so much, Suubi, for the presentation and inspiration. It was really an inspiring presentation. Yeah, so now I think I would like to engage in some sort of a discussion. We have some time. Maybe we can go for about 20 to 30 minutes discussing about this topic. I think this topic is very much important. It is very much important. Yeah, but before we discuss, for the sake of newcomers, yeah, I can tell very briefly, this is talent mindset coaching program that I have personally initiated. Yes, and luckily enough, we have been blessed by this office. The reason they gave us access to use this facility. Yeah, and so there are three main motive, I would say, for this session. Number one, of course, few of things he has already mentioned. Yeah, number one is to help us as immigrants adapt to Finland. Yeah, basically, as the title says, mindset coaching. So we are mainly focusing on the mindset because, for me personally, I believe the biggest challenge is about mindset on both sides. There is a particular mindset on the employer side, and there is a particular mindset on the job seekers side, which is us, that needs some sort of correction. Yeah, that's what I said I should come with this. And why do I think so? I think so because first of all, I've been here long enough. Uh, I've spent my life in Finland about 9 years now, so I'm going to close 10 years very soon. Yeah, so that's long enough. Of course, many people are surprised. Why aren't you speaking Finnish? Of course, I'm speaking some Finnish. Basically, I've started to learn. I'm attending some class. Yeah, but it is very hard. I think we're gonna make this a discussion on another day. Yeah, but the point is, I have learned a lot of things. Yeah, I was very so much keen to understanding why is it hard for immigrants to find jobs. Yeah, because on the outside we hear a lot that Finland is inviting talents. Actually, that's how I came to Finland. I just somebody just called me and said, "Man, Finland is looking for talents from abroad. They even pay for your tuition fees and everything." And that's how I came. If I was to pay for my own tuition fee like you guys are doing right now, man, there was no way I could come to Finland. Yeah, but I came to Finland. School fee paid, everything. Uh, I was even getting 500 euros per month, to accommodate with other expenses. So it was very lucrative. And looking at those factors, it was very much enough to think like, okay, really, talents are needed in Finland. Yeah, so since I came here and after graduation, the situation was opposite to what was promised. But for me, I was keen to understand what is really going on here. So I've spent my time understanding what is going on. And now I think I know very well what is going on. Yeah. Some of the very common reasons that have been used by employers and some of the advisors are very, I can say this very boldly because I know it's true. Some of the reasons, they are true, but they are like 10% of the whole answer that you needed to get. Yeah, of course, one of the very common excuses you will hear from most of the employers, they will say, "I'm sorry you don't speak Finnish language." Yeah, but there is always so much behind that you need to understand. If you don't understand that, you will keep on going through the same circle again and again and again and again. Yeah, so after understanding these whole things, then I said, why not sharing this story to other people? Because another challenge is that uh, most of people who came to Finland, we don't want to disappoint our parents and our siblings who are still back in our home countries. So I can come here, then do my master's degree, and then I cannot find a job in my profession. I end up doing Walt, which is a very low, I would say it's blue collar job, something like that, or get cleaning job, which is perfectly fine. I've come to learn even cleaning is so much respected job. It depends on how much you position yourself. But basing on how we understand, cleaning is also one of the unrespected jobs. So there's no way you will start telling your siblings back at home, guys, I'm cleaning. I came to do master's degree in electrical engineering and now I'm cleaning. So always you will be like, oh, thank God, Finland is fantastic, a lot of blessing, blah, 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 blah. You will be complaining in Finland, like, hey, why can't I have jobs? Yeah, but on social media, it's all about blessings and blessings and blessings. So a lot of people don't have the clear picture of what Finland is like. And they come with very high hopes and very high expectations, and they end up in frustrations and disappointment. Yeah, so I said, why not? We should start to talk about these things in the way they are, so that other people can get a clear picture. If they come, then they should come prepared, at least mentally. If you come prepared mentally, I believe you can handle it somehow differently. Yeah, so that's why we are having talent mindset coaching session. That is the reason, and this is a collaborative program, in the sense that I'm speaking to other mentors as well. And other speakers, and I've tried to approach some of the employers, asking them to come and talk to us. And when an employer has come and speak for 40 minutes, believe me, they will tell you reasons beyond the language. They will tell you all the things. Yeah, I've had one employer who came here, actually he's Congolese, you know, Christophe. Yeah, Christophe Mukwege, he came here and he shared, and actually he even admitted himself. He said, there are about 2 people that I had to stop working with them. Actually, they are also immigrants, but I had to tell them, please, the reason you stop working here is because of the language. but he admitted he had so other reasons for not working with those people. Yeah, and I came to learn that the biggest reason was somehow our cultural differences. Yeah, though he's also from Africa. Yeah, but as a business, we all know the values that are needed in business. Yeah, and unfortunately for us, for example, well, now I will speak specifically from Africa because I'm an African, but I don't know how different it could be from other countries. Yeah, we have some practices that we have accustomed ourselves to the extent that we think it's just life. Yeah, so you may practice those things, and most of the employers, they don't really like them. At the end of the day, they will say, please, can you stay aside? And they will even end up avoiding them. Yeah. So that happens as well. Yeah, so I've invited, and even last week we had Johanna Pansal. If you have heard Johanna Pansal, she's also a mentor, and she's also consulting even businesses. She has been a recruiter before, and she has even helped many international people also do this, in the recruitment process. So that's why it's called collaborative. Other benefits that you may get out of talent mindset coaching, of course, on top of getting the insights, this is an opportunity which I believe will help you to expose your talents. I've been seeing your work, brother, on Facebook. Yeah, though I'm not really sure how many people are really following in our networks here in Finland, because for you to be relevant, it has to apply at least in the region where you may be applicable. Yeah, so perhaps on Facebook, most of the people will be looking at your works, of course, are those people who were connected with you back at your home. So maybe that will be the most people who will be following your postings. And here in Finland, I think only those who have been connected with you. And I don't know how much you have connected to the Finnish communities. Yeah, so if you keep on posting on Facebook without taking additional steps, then probably I would say that may not be that relevant. And at the end of the day, you may have a great talent, but if no one sees that, they will always reject you. Like, oh man, please work on your language. Yeah, but in reality, they don't see any potential. Yeah, so I believe this session will somehow be helpful because a lot of eyes have been pointed in this program at this moment. Of course, I don't get a lot of direct interactions on social media. Yeah, but I'm getting a lot of feedback that people are looking at what I'm doing. And this is the reason they gave me even this access, because they have been looking from the beginning. Yeah, even now they're checking to see. And even one of the person from this office, they said, you know what, maybe at some point we might even consider to acquire this program. So please keep on doing whatever you're doing. Yeah, so that's one of the benefits, to showcase you as students. This is your opportunity to decide to be an expert. He stated really well, everybody is an expert in a particular field. So your assignment as a student now is to decide to be an expert. Becoming an expert is a matter of decision. It's not an ability. Many people think that you have to be you have to be able to be an expert. And you imagine of the Albert Einstein or something like that, who is a genius, can see beyond Mars. Now, it's a matter of decision. You can swap on the table just immediately by just deciding, today I'm an expert. and then you start to work on it. You become an expert. Yeah, so you showcase, but more importantly, this is a place where you can start to connect. I've been talking as well so much that at some point, as talented immigrants, not excluding the Finns, also with Finns, we need to start to come together and discuss about these things. Yeah, the biggest problem is when everyone is trying to fight solo. You want to get out solo. It's so much difficult. I don't know. I'm sorry if I will offend you, but I always like to use biblical examples. Yeah, in the Bible, there's this story of those people who were building this Tower of Babel. Yeah, because they were doing it together in one accord. They were building it so high until to the extent that even God himself was concerned. He was like, man, these people, they will reach where I live. So let us strike them with something so that they may get confused. And he did that. They spoke different languages, and the tower was no longer working. It went down. And this is how it really happens in real life. You may be very much talented, very much expert, but if you're just isolated in a particular room, you need to have very extra strong factor to to have a breakthrough on your own. But we all need some other people to work together and make it through. I read even one book which is called Think and Grow Rich, which has been written by Napoleon Hill, and he even stated that when two people are meeting, always there is an additional third strong factor in the middle of them, which always magnifies the impact. So this is always bigger than the result of two people individual combined. If you do together, then you get even bigger impact. That's why I emphasize we should start meeting together, discuss things, and where possible, let's start to do things together. So that was all. Sorry for the long explanation. I would like now to engage in a short discussion. Someone said, first of all, some people are really happy on your presentation. We have about 251 viewers at the moment, if I'm looking correctly. Yes, and someone really liked your presentation, and he said it's valid. And King Thomas said he has even started a course on cybersecurity, and he has a ton of questions. Of course, he was expecting, I think, to join as a collaborator. Unfortunately, I cannot grant him now, so that we can go together. Yeah, he has not written the question he's having. Maybe we will try some other time to do a collaborative feature, but it will disrupt the meeting if we allow him. Yes, I have some questions now. Of course, I already asked some of the people who are here, and maybe we might need to repeat the conversation again. How is cyber threat a challenge? Or you may tell us what are the problems that we may associate to cybersecurity, and how can this concern everyone? Or should it concern some special IT people? As sorry, may I ask your name?
Milla.
Milla.
Yes.
Yes, Milla initially thought that this is only for IT people. Maybe is it true? Now I want to hear you last.
Alright.
Maybe I would like to hear first from you. What do you think? Should this cybersecurity topic or discussion only concern the IT people, or what do you think? What is your view?
No, I don't think so. Cybersecurity should be something very general. People from other fields can as well learn how to protect their data. So it should not be like IT based. Yeah, it should not be meant for those people studying IT only.
Do you know any specific challenges in relation to cybersecurity that you can think of right now?
Well, in terms of challenge, I wanted to ask a question.
Yes, please.
Job opportunities and job markets in Finland, as we are living here.
Yes.
For a foreigner and graduated person, for example, in IoT, for example.
Yes.
And who has this career as a cyber.
Sorry, I will put this mic over here.
What will be facing a graduated person from cybersecurity, for example, in the job market in Finland, for example? Do they trust offering job to them as they are from other countries? For example, I myself from Iran, is that there is a lot of security concerns about my country is under sanctions, for example, by the USA, for example. And are they offering job to this kind of person, for example?
A fantastic, great question. Anyone with an answer before Suubi? Okay, Suubi, maybe if you have any response to that.
I would say that when you apply for jobs, there's a lot of factors that we don't see from outside, because sometimes some jobs, some recruiters have specific criteria, because maybe they're looking for people residing in a certain area, or they're looking for people from a certain university, or they're looking for people with specific qualifications. And one thing someone told me is when you apply for jobs, you actually stand a good chance of getting a job if you apply in like when the job is posted, because that is when they begin looking at the application. So I believe that it's both true and false, that okay, there are sometimes some companies may have certain concerns because they don't know you, and the biggest concern that they have is not about your background but about your integration to the team, because as he said, when you talked about Chris, because when we come from different places, so we have different values and we have different ways of doing things. So sometimes it's a big of a risk to take someone from, let's say, from Asia, and maybe the team is fully Finnish, because what if they don't speak, they would put for you that excuse of what if you don't speak Finnish, but their biggest challenges or concern is how would you integrate with the team? How would you be able to work with the team? Because there's different ways of communication. And I remember when we first started this talent mindset, one of the members said that when you don't speak a language, there is things that are lost in translation. Because if we both what do you speak in Iran, by the way?
As a language?
Yeah.
Persian.
Persian. So if we both speak Persian, there are some things that I can tell you, like maybe even some jokes we can tell each other. But if we don't speak and you speak I speak English and you're from Iran, I might tell you a joke, or you might tell me a joke that in your language might be funny, but in English it might be offensive. So it boils down to how well they feel you might integrate to the team. And most companies then decide to take the safe route, which is, okay, our team is Finnish, let's take Finnish people, because there's a higher probability that they might integrate more. But I think regardless of where you come from, what gives you a big benefit from what I've seen is not even where you come from. It's the projects you've done. Because I don't know if I should say, but many times recruiters look at your projects, because when they look down, when they sit down and they see, okay, this is his CV, okay, he has a good CV, but what has he done? Because they want to see what value you have, because your value, when they weigh in terms of the integration, they might be willing to take that risk on you because you seem to have greater value than risk. But if you are just on the same level as other applicants, maybe Finnish people, then it becomes quite challenging. And that's where most of us foreigners, we fall into that category, because we work on building a good CV. We don't work on building projects that supplement that CV. So when you're put on par with a Finnish person, when they look at the CVs, they say, okay, this Finnish person, you guys are on the same level in terms of the assessment, and it's easier. It's not a bigger risk to take a Finnish person compared to foreign. And even in her case, because she's working, she might tell you, in where you work, aren't most of your workmates Finnish?
Yes.
And in your company, when you hired a foreigner, weren't there some maybe did the people in the team kind of struggle with maybe communicating with the foreign person?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And was it because they weren't qualified or because of the difference in backgrounds?
I would say the background difference.
So I think that that's something we overlook. But many recruiters, before they pick you, they look at, okay, how would you fit into my team? And I remember when I was applying for my job, I had one interview whereby it wasn't even questions about what I did. It was questions about who you are as a person. And sometimes we are not ready for those things because we think that, okay, I want to talk about my programming, my this, but sometimes they want to know you as a person, because if you can relate with them in that brief period of time, then it's worth taking that risk to hire you over a foreigner, over a Finnish person or any other person. So it's just about showcasing your personality. And how do you do that? You have LinkedIn, as he's been posting every day. He's been doing 100 days of was it JavaScript? He's been doing 100 days of JavaScript. So by him showing his personality through there, other than his CV, if we apply for jobs, he's done 100 days of JavaScript. He's shown his personality through that, shared experiences. So there is a different outlook that they have about him compared to me. So even regardless of the backgrounds and of the color, it's about your personality. And I think it goes down to showcasing your value, so that in case of any prejudice, someone might think, okay, you're from Iran, you're from Kenya or Tanzania, but they see your value in the project you've done and they see your personality, then it's worth taking that risk on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, maybe just to add a little bit. For me, of course, I was also having the so many questions while I was looking for a job. Immediately after graduation, I really struggled as well. Also, though I got a job immediately after graduation, but it was posted. Yeah, so I'm thankful for getting a job immediately, but I was still looking for other professional job, and it took me a while to get a professional job that I really desired. Yeah, but after thinking, what I came to learn is that the easiest way to know what are the factors counts for you to get hired, I would say is not even to ask. Don't even ask at Finn, what do I need to have for you to hire me? Because there's a 90% chance you will not hear the whole truth you need to hear. For tourism, of course, some of the Finns, they have no idea themselves why they would reject you. They have no idea. That is the truth. And it's the truth because this is for any customer, you know. In sales, I've also read a lot of books also in sales. In sales, they say a customer always never knows what they want, which is very true. You may know what you want now, but you have no idea what you need like in your entire life. That's why actually women are being picked as an example. You know, as I say, a woman can plan to go and buy a spaghetti in a Prisma, but when she comes out, she has the toilet papers, of course, box of juice, the whatever, the gifts, everything. And be like, a woman knows not that she doesn't know what she wants, but that applies to any person. Yeah, always when the window opens up, and then you realize you have more window to afford more, then you start to discover new things that you need. So Finns are our customers, and sometimes they don't know what they want, but deep inside, they need to be compatible to any new person who is coming to the team. Anyway, long story short is that the easiest way to tell is imagine if you had a business and you were doing cybersecurity and you wanted to hire someone, who could you choose? Would you choose anyone coming to knock on your door and say, can I come and work here, please? Would you let him and give him the chair to start working? Would you do that? Definitely no. Yeah, you might say, I need someone I know. If I will leave him in this office, they will do something productive, but also they will not, take away my computer. Anyone starting a business, they will have that concern. You will never deny that. Yeah, so at some point, even if the policy, because the policy says you must give the position to everyone, all people in the public must have the same access to any opportunity. But that's the policies. It doesn't work from the business perspective. In the business perspective, you want to be sure first, this guy will not give me any loss. Yeah, so when I started to know about these things, and some of the things he has already stated here, that when you start to know these things, then you know, number one thing, you need to let other people know you. Yeah, unfortunately, always the first instinct by any human to other human is most of the time negative. Yeah, that's why if they don't know you and you're here, most of the people, they will start to hide things away. Yeah, because by nature, that's the instinct for most of the people. Unless otherwise, maybe if the culture has somehow, blended you into other things. Maybe like, for example, I'm a Christian. In Christianity, sometimes we are being taught, please, love strangers, love strangers. So sometimes out of Christianity, I may try to overcome that repulsive instinctiveness. Yeah, but naturally, that's it. So if someone doesn't know you, they will reject you. That's the truth. And I've been advising people the simpler way to let people know you, come to the programs like now. The way you have discussed now with Mr. Suubi, it won't be the same when you meet again next time. Next time, you will be way closer. So Mr. Suubi may open a little bit more to you, and you may open a little bit more. And next time you meet, Mr. Suubi has, maybe if you told him already you are looking for a particular job in this field, and Mr. Suubi has heard about it, he will easily give it to you because you have already done some interaction. It goes the same way to the Finns. Yeah, for now we may blame Finns a lot, but I think you yourself, where are the immigrants spending most of their times? Where? People most of the time, if it's not in school, they are doing what? If it's not what, of course, it's maybe cleaning job or something like that. There is a very minimum time Finns and other immigrants would be meeting. Okay, who should start? That's another question. But for example, there are some events going on. Most of the people will say, this is even for Finns. I'm not going. Man, should I go? And, for example, even this session, most of the time is empty. Not because people don't like to come here, but they always have they are like, please, should I go and sit down for 2 hours? These 2 hours, if I do what, I could get my 20 euros. Bro, please, maybe some other time. Most of the guys, they have told me that to my face, like, man, really, you're doing a really good thing, but man, these 2 hours, I could get 20 euros with Walt. And that has been the life. So you don't give people a chance. Even for me, some people are coming to me, asking for me for an opportunity because now they see me interacting with many other people. But the thing, I don't know them that close. So even when I'm being forced to speak on your behalf, I don't have the grounds enough to talk on your behalf. So these are among the few things that we don't discuss at all, but they count the most, more than the language. Yeah, I've seen some people who have spoken very poorly Finnish, my wife included. Of course, she has gone through the integration program. She came through family. Yes, but we all know that even 1 year program doesn't help at all to speak if you don't get a community to speak. So she graduated the integration program. She spoke very poorly. Luckily enough, she did very well on her internship. Yes, her first internship, she did very well. And the workers at that place, they really liked her, the way she conducted herself, her personality. She got a job. And good enough, she has picked the language. Now she's almost speaking like a Finn. I've been here years before her, but now she's understanding Finnish better than I do. She's speaking better than I can because she has been subjected in that environment. On the same occurrence, other people who spoke better Finnish than her, they were rejected at the same place. And they were told, please, you need to improve your Finnish language. If you do a little bit more, we will take you. But those people, if you check, some of them, they had done the internship at the same place, but they were, behaving the way they were behaving. Though I'm not saying racism is not there. Sometimes racism counts. It does the effect a lot, though a lot in a very small portion. Yeah, but in the remaining part, we don't give people a chance to know us. Yeah, so please, as I emphasize in most of my meetings, attend the events, attend the programs, as long as you can and you believe this adds value to my life. Plan to attend those events. You hear maybe employment service office is organizing a leisure time event, though it doesn't add anything to your activities. But if you have time, come. And I should correct myself. Not if you have time. Set time. Time is like a water. If you take a bucket out of ocean, it doesn't leave a hole there. It always fills up. So if you don't set the time aside, you will always be busy because there will always be something to do. So set time to do something, to attend an event, and more than just attending an event, ask to help something. No one has even come. Actually, only one lady. She came and said, "Can I help you with something with a camera?" Yeah, unfortunately, she's also busy. But apart from that, all other guys, they don't even ask help here. Of course, for me, I don't need help now. Yeah, I can manage. But some of the events here, you are a witness. Yes, I've been mentioning in the emails. Some events have been organized here. They have been needing a lot of help, but no one offers any help. How do you expect somebody to know you if you don't give them a chance to work with you? And good enough, that lady who has been organizing events here, she's not a Finn. Finns, they don't always like to tell other people what to do. That's also what I've learned. Yeah, so they might need your help, but coming to say, please, can you do this for me? He has to be very international. Maybe he has already lived abroad. But if his culture, his mentality is enclosed within the border, they so much respect. Maybe you will confirm with me. Finns, they have the so-called personal space. And personal space is not only about, waiting to get into the bus and one person is standing there, other standing there. That really exists. But the other thing which counts more is that Finns will not interfere with you, not because they hate you, but because they believe maybe they will somehow interfere with your personal space. Maybe you will be annoyed. Why is she telling me to do this? Does she think I can't decide on my own? They respect that. Oh, am I lying?
Yeah, I agree with you about that.
Yeah, so it really counts a lot. So at some point, we have to learn to take the first initiative. Go and ask, please, I can see you're struggling with your camera. Can I help you? Because I know how to do that. Most of the time they will say, thank you, please help me. Yeah, I've gone to different places. Even now, I went to this church, Free Pentecostal church or whatever. I was not even going to worship there. But I just went and then I saw their live streaming. There are one guy has to handle different station. He has to control the camera. He has to control the light himself. Sometimes the preacher has already moved out of the camera, and then people are complaining on the comments, where is the preacher? And then he has to go back after you see a complaint on the comment. And then I was like, can I help this? And then said, thank you, please sit down. And then that's how I started to help that place. And some of them, they don't even speak English. Every time he's starting the story with me in Finnish, but I just decided I want to go along with that. But they never rejected me because I couldn't speak any Finnish. Yeah, shortly, now that was a very long answer. Sorry for that. But I believe it added something. Yeah, so the question again, I didn't get my answer. So can you mention some of the, now Mr. Suubi, maybe, can you tell us some of the common problems that are related to cybersecurity that maybe we can become aware and at least know why should this topic matter?
One thing that I could say, because there's quite many, would be probably what you spoke about in the beginning.
Yes.
The Wi-Fi, open Wi-Fi. So as Ezekiel had mentioned, We all like to connect to Wi-Fi because we want to access things. We want to, when you're in the airport, you connect to the Wi-Fi.
Any airport, any Wi-Fi you can see.
Yeah, we love that open Wi-Fi, but one thing that is happening now is that people are utilizing that ignorance of people.
Yes.
People are unaware about the risk of connecting to an open Wi-Fi. So what they are doing is they are using it to take your information, because nowadays, with the way technology has advanced, not nowadays, but even since the past, you're able to create, or rather to intercept that information that is sent over the Wi-Fi. So if someone sends like bank details or passwords or those things, you're able to see them because they are not transformed from that form that they're in, because the Wi-Fi is open and people can intercept it. So that is one thing that is happening, because nowadays people in coffee shops, you want to be on Wi-Fi. So one of the things that people are being advised to do is to, when you're on those open Wi-Fi's, refrain from accessing private information like your bank, emails, passwords, things like that. Another thing would be what we talk about nowadays is artificial intelligence, because I think that's something everyone now is quite intrigued about. But nowadays, artificial intelligence is being used to conduct attacks. And as I was telling my girlfriend who's here in the audience, so a few days ago, I found that someone tried to access my Gmail, and it was coming from different parts of the world. So it was coming from Belgium, China, what at the same time, like I could see that this person tried to access he had the password, but there was something else that he missed. So we may wonder, okay, how did the person get the password? Artificial intelligence, because nowadays you can use artificial intelligence in the way you might guess a password. Nowadays you can utilize artificial intelligence to guess passwords. You can guess up to, I don't know the exact number per minute, but you can guess almost billions and billions of passwords at a given period of time. So what I would say is that to curb that, which is becoming quite popular nowadays, because we see it happening a lot with people. What they do is they change their location, so that if I'm attacking you and you are there, you would find that if I change my location, it says that I'm trying to access your account from Germany, yet I'm seated here with you. But as he talked about using VPNs in the beginning, people are using those tactics that we use to protect ourselves to conduct attacks. So one of the things I would highly advise, and as I was telling her, was use multi-factor authentication. If you can, make sure you have it, because hadn't I put that multi-factor authentication, I would have lost my Gmail and other things connected with it. So use multi-factor authentication. The other thing that is
an app.
Huh?
Sorry, is it an app?
Good question. I like that one.
Oh, is it an app? Yeah, it's an app that you find on. There's Google Authenticator, there's Microsoft Authenticator, there's different authenticator applications, but the one that I use is Microsoft Authenticator, because it's free. So you just need to onboard it gives you the steps when you put your password. You can put even applications like LinkedIn, it generates for you a specific code every time that you sign in from a different device. You need that code, and that code is only valid for like 15 seconds. And there's another one, so it reduces that risk. The final thing I would say is phishing. We've all gotten spam messages. For example, you hear about, maybe on Gmail you see, wow, you've won an iPhone 15, and you've not won it, or you've not entered a competition. But what people are doing is utilizing people's ignorance and also desperation, because you are told, okay, you've won an iPhone 15, authenticate yourself to claim your reward. But I would say that you need to be aware of things like that because they are not legitimate, at least 99% of the time. And if you want to test your ability to spot phishing attacks, Google offers a free test that you can do on your phone, on your laptop. It gives you scenarios of phishing, and it tasks you with how well you are able to spot them. So it's good to know about that, because in security, the number one, I would say, the number one technique being used by attackers today is phishing, or what in security is termed as social engineering, whereby you manipulate people's weaknesses to gain private information about them. For example, I know that someone is looking for a job. So I say that I message you and I'm like, hi, I'm Suubi from this company. We have a job for you, yet you've not applied. And you see that I want you to give me your information. So in that case, what is advised for people to do is to think what would be the implications in case you lose that information that you have. And you also need to think, is it really worth it? Or how legitimate would it be? So always have that security mindset whereby you don't just take things from a surface level, but think of it from a deeper level. Look at it, what would be the implications if this wasn't legitimate? Because they look at urgency, they tell you, oh wow, we have this job immediately. And as I shared on my LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, I was a victim of a phishing attack in 2020. And 2020 was, if we remember 2020, we all know that it was a really tough year across the world. It was COVID, the height of COVID. And someone reached out to my dad and said, hi, we have a job for your children. He claimed to be a church member of where my dad went to. And my dad immediately trusted that person and was like, he told us, now go and get your documents, apply for the job. This person offered us a job and he said, we'll pay you, during COVID and Africa, it wasn't a very good salary, but to us in COVID, we had already planned, like,
everyone was going to online jobs and something like that. So
yeah,
it was a
but
good timing.
yeah, so we were so excited. We were like, yeah, we are going to buy some shoes, we'll buy clothes. We had already planned to do what to do with our money. So we didn't even think of verifying this person's legitimacy. So one thing he asked that we overlooked was, he said we needed to pay him a fee for in Kenya it's something called a certificate of good conduct, to certify that you've never been in prison or things like, just basically that you don't have a criminal record. And we didn't know how to process it. So he told us, okay, send me the money. We looked at the sum at that time comparing to the salary we would get. We were like, okay, we'll just recoup it from the salary. So we paid. The next morning, we got ready. We went to the workplace. We were ready. We had worn our the best clothes for that time. We walk into the workplace. We are like, we want to meet the manager. He's promised us a job. We are ready for the job. The look that they gave us was, they were like, these people are crazy. Like, are they okay? Like, which job because it was a supermarket job. In Africa, we have the supermarket retailers who help you if you want to buy products. So, long and short of it, we found it was a scam. We called the person and he was just laughing. He was like, how do you guys even believe this? So we're like, we've given you money. It's like, I'm in prison. So if you want your money, come and find me from the prison.
That's crazy.
And it ended like that. But it was something that was common. It wasn't just us, but in Kenya, it was during COVID, people were taking advantage of that. But it was sad that we had to learn from losing money. So just be aware. If you can, I would suggest try that phishing test by Google. It's really good. It's very, very good. And it will give, even if you might not get the questions correct, it gives you tips on what to do in case. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, maybe if you have any question, guys, any of you, please feel free to ask. Yeah, otherwise I will be asking all the questions. Are you familiar with multi-factor authentication he just mentioned?
Yes,
Could you explain how do you understand it?
I think some junior students.
You are also in the IoT,
Yeah,
so you should understand.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, fantastic.
I understand.
How about you? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. We have an application on my mobile. We have to put in two numbers when we want to connect.
Okay, this is fantastic. So maybe now, Mr. Suubi, I think you already got, for example, questions from him. So how can someone, spot these threats? If you can give us a few examples. Now, you were scammed, of course, along with your dad. Now, what did you learn? How can I avoid that?
I think at that time, because I was young, I wanted to get back the money, and I was really sad because I remember when I called that guy on the phone, we just started abusing each other. And, I wanted the money back, and I was sad. But I think one thing that you can learn, there's this good podcast on Spotify. It's everyday news on cybersecurity. It's called CyberWire Daily. So it's a daily briefing on cybersecurity. So every day there's a segment of 25 minutes or 30 minutes on cybersecurity. And it's really interesting because it covers threats around the world. Even Finland was featured because how many of us knew that Finland, people have been selling drugs online, and it's a business that is worth millions of dollars. And it was happening, I think one of the suspects, I don't know if they were from Kuopio or something, but it was a big story, but we don't know about it. But it was featured on that podcast. Another podcast I would say that would be really good if you want to get into cybersecurity, and especially if you want to understand how threat actors or people who carry out threats, how they do it. It's called Darknet Diaries. So it's by a guy called Jack Resider, and it's a really interesting podcast on cyber threats. So it talks about different things from around the world. It talks about, recently there was a podcast I was listening to about the Punjabi scammers from, I don't know if it was India or Pakistan. Yeah, they scammed people even in Canada. They call you, they fake the voices, they impersonate people. Like, it's very interesting if you want to learn about more about cyber threats, particularly because he gives you a whole lesson he gives you a story about cybersecurity. He invites those people who've carried out cyber threats or who've encountered cyber threats, because I remember there was one episode I was listening to also recently. This gentleman was a penetration tester, so he used to hack into systems, and he was from, I can't remember, country in South America. And when the cyber threat happened, because he was the only person who was that sophisticated, the police pinned it on him because they found him with all the tools for hacking, but he wasn't a hacker himself. He wasn't a bad hacker, but he was an ethical hacker. So they took him into jail, and he talked about his experience and all those things, and it opens your mind on cybersecurity from a broad perspective. Another thing I would say that you could learn on cybersecurity would be I would say LinkedIn is very good for learning. There are many content creators who talk about cybersecurity. So what I would do, what I did is that I looked for people who talk about cybersecurity or who are leaders in cybersecurity, like chief information security officers, all those people. Follow them, hear their stories, they share publications, they share things that they go through. Because also, as he said, those connections is when you connect to them and you begin to interact, you begin to grow closer to them. And other than you gaining knowledge from them, you're also gaining credibility by your connections. Another thing would be entering communities, because I don't know how many of us know that Kuopio has its own security association in Kuopio. It's called COSEC. They meet every third Wednesday of the month there's a pub in Malia restaurant.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, so I went there. I was the only foreigner, and I think I went.
Could you share with info with me next time?
Yeah. It's open to everyone. They organize talks about cybersecurity. The organizer, because they don't have much foreigners, they do it mostly in Finnish, but in case they see you're coming consistently, then they can also make that compromise and do it for you. So it's not just Kuopio itself. Every city has its own security company. There's Turku, there's Uvascular, Helsinki, and they organize a lot of collaborative events where maybe every quarter or every 6 months they organize big events. Like recently in February they had a big conference in Helsinki. So I think those are some of the places you can learn. And I'm a big believer that you learn more from people than what you might learn from books, because your experience it adds more value to just having that theoretical knowledge. So those are some of the places I would say off the top of my head that you could learn about cybersecurity.
Okay, there was a comment from Njumo. Now I'm reading this in Swahili. Njumo says, have you ever thought of Finns bullying foreigners, especially if you are neighbors? Has anyone had any experience of being bullied by a Finn here?
No.
No. Njumo, if you have any experience, please share more details. I have never experienced any bullying from any Finn. I've never experienced it personally. Yeah, I would like an additional point. Maybe you could you remind me your name, please?
Clovis.
Yes, please. Could you tell us also very briefly what are the threats that I can potentially face in relation to cybersecurity, and what measures should I take?
I think
I will also come to you and to you. Actually, everyone who is familiar, I will need to hear your opinion. Yes, please.
All right, for the threat, I will talk again on data security. Yes, because most of the times we have discovered that most people are being scammed online. Maybe their money are being extorted. For example, there is this common scam in Finland where they ask you to get something like, I think, a game card, and then when you send to them, they have a way of now, probably you can just get to Prisma and then you buy a game card. And then now when you send the game card to them, they have a way now of extracting the money.
Okay.
Yeah, which you used in buying the game card. Yeah, that's something I've experienced. So I think it's all about protecting your data. Yeah, very well. And avoid, like he has said, avoid using all this free Wi-Fi and stuff like that.
But sometimes you need to use a Wi-Fi. Maybe your SIM card doesn't have any data and you need to be connected, maybe to send a message or read an email. What do you do in that case? Would you rather stay offline?
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can
or let's take an example. You are taking a flight and you're exchanging a flight. At some point, you have 4 hours. You need to know the gate of the other place to take a plane. You don't have the internet. You can only see free Wi-Fi there. What do you do?
Yeah, like he earlier said, you can use it to avoid like opening your personal information while using it.
Okay, fantastic. How about you? Any threats that can come to mind, and what precaution can we take as regular users?
There are a lot of threats we have been discussing since, but
You can repeat anything, even if we have
I
already
can
discussed.
see we are just emphasizing on data security, data this, data that. Cyber security is beyond data itself.
Yes.
As the speaker have spoken earlier,
Yes.
even coming through the door, we are securing it. Have we ever find time to educate our family that you don't just consent to anything that is pushed to you on your phone? Manage the consent, manage your cookies, right? They call it cookies.
Mhm.
Accepting cookies alone is opening your data or giving your data to those you don't know.
The third companies, yeah.
Before you know it, they start pushing you mails that you want something, you can get this, you can get that.
And that's very important, because even myself, sometimes I'm like, accept all. I don't want to waste time.
And sometimes those of us that have parents, aged parents, we have to tell them, before you send money to anybody,
Yes.
ask me.
Yes. That's a very, very important one.
It's also a cyber security stuff. So many things.
What if your mom wants to surprise you? He wants you to just get the money, and then you'll be like, whoa, surprise!
Because standing in a shop and it leads from, so it comes through surprise.
Yeah.
There's no surprise. Don't surprise me. Ask me. Ask me before doing anything.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Communication matters.
Very important. Thank you so much.
Or just to add on
Yes, please.
what she said, by the way, she captured it quite well, because even in security, you're told to, there's a framework that is called the zero trust. It's a guideline on zero trust. So you're meant to always think of the worst in everyone,
Yes.
regardless of your relations, because as she said, you know, you might know someone, and we know each other, but you need to always have that doubt, because you need to always think, okay, what if they take advantage of the trust that we have and they exploit me? Because like when that episode I said about the Punjabi scammers, what they were doing was they were pretending to be cousins of those people. So they tell you, oh hi, your cousin was in a bar fight and he's been held by the authorities and they need X amount of money. Can you help him out? Then if you say you want to talk to them, they're like, oh no, he's with the police, so just send me the money, then I get him out. So they take advantage of their relations, because they do a good research on you, and they know, okay, this is Ezekiel's wife, this is his cousin, this is who. So they take advantage of that. So it's something that you always need to know, is you always need to have that thing in mind, whereby you think, okay, what if this person, even though I know them, they might manipulate the trust I have for them and take advantage of it and probably do me harm. Yeah, so I really agree on what she said. It's not just narrowed down to data security, but everything here is cyber security, because even as I said at the start, even when you walk through the door, there was an aspect of security, because we had to we encountered physical security, which is also part of cyber security. And before reaching this room, we had to gain consent from them. Even though we said we knew you, they still had to come and check first before bringing us. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now for the
Can I
next
add
one.
something?
Yes, please.
Like we are also at risk if we are accessing websites that are not secure.
Yes.
For example, most of the times people always access websites that are like having the HTTP without the S at the end, which is unsecure. So now you are now liable to give your personal information out. And most of the times too, some people can send you messages, SMS, for example, with a website link which is not clickable. So it requires you now to probably copy the URL and paste in the browser.
Yes.
Which is not legit. So it now causes you now to give your personal information out.
Yes.
Yeah, which is detrimental to your data.
Very important one, yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, for your case now, maybe you can also take your workplace into context. As a business, I believe business are main targets most of the time because they handle large chunk of cash. So people really want that. How about you? What threats are you facing as a business, and what precautions are you taking?
I think from my own experience, like I face those like emails or calls, and I think I'm quite like pessimistic about like I even hesitate to answer like calls if I know I don't expect like a call from someone.
Yes.
I don't answer, and I've had those emails as well. So usually I just delete them. But what I was thinking about those like accepting those cookies, I think after this meeting, like I'll be more like I'll pay more attention, like what I accept.
Yeah, most people, of course, they don't want to waste time, starting to read what these cookies bring up. Just rather click, accept all. So, how about you? So, if you have encountered this topic before, or if it's new, tell us your experience and what have you learned about any possible threats. Maybe we can start with my brother over there.
Me personally, I haven't experienced that, but I hear some stories like most of cases like people who scams. Yeah. But my question is you said something when you want it's a developing cybersecurity is always developing. You gave an example of an iPhone.
Yes.
Every year there is an iPhone. Today there's an iPhone 15. After 2 years there will be iPhone 18. So it means that it's always developing.
Yes.
So my question is someone who is wants to join the field of cybersecurity. So what is you have to start from iPhone 1.
Yeah.
You have to start from iPhone 1 for you to understand the cybersecurity, or maybe. So, if you are interested in the knowledge and understanding, going deeper into cybersecurity.
Yes, Mr. Suubi, please.
I think it's just you starting from where you can start from. So I don't think there is any perfect starting point, and I think the same thing with life. We never all start at the same age, but we start at different levels, but we all seem to catch up at some point in our lives. So I believe even with cybersecurity, it's the same perspective because, for example, for myself, I got into cybersecurity not even more than 2 years ago, probably 23, 20. Yeah, maybe let's say 2 years ago, I would say. But it's not that it was easy because we obviously compare ourselves with other people, but I think everyone has their own race to run in life. So we might think, okay, maybe Suubi is far ahead from me or something of the sort, but I think when you start your journey, it's the way you define it, because we all have our own goals. Probably for me, maybe I would want to start a company. For you, maybe you want to be the head of a company or something like that. We all have different goals and the trajectory is different. So I think it's just from where you start from. And if I would say, like in his case, in Clovis's case, he just started the 100 days of JavaScript like that. He didn't need anyone to tell him that, okay, it's going to be tough and all those things, but he just decided to start. And once you start, you see that things begin to fall into place. So you might not be at the same level as people, but if you follow, as I was saying, like, if you create a portfolio to document what you're doing, you are ready to learn, you are resilient to what you're doing, and every day you make it intentional that you want to learn a new thing in cybersecurity or to practice. By the time when you look at it few years later, you'd have reached a great place. And there's this theory that people say that to succeed, you need to achieve 10,000 hours to be successful. And I believe that in life, when you look at things, because in that book it's called the 10,000 hours, I think, the principle of success, because it's looked at people like the Beatles and other people. How many hours did they put in before they became really successful? Because we think that success comes overnight, but I don't think anyone's success is just like that. So if you are ready to work hard, regardless of where you are, because today you might be at zero, but tomorrow you add small and small, because we say in Swahili that little and little fills up, because that small you put, even when you're filling up a pit, you don't start by filling it up completely, but you start by putting in one scoop, another scoop, another scoop. Before you know it, the pit is full. So if you just have that mindset that, okay, I want to learn cybersecurity every day, I don't care about where other people are, I want to gauge myself, I want to get as much experience. It will be tough because Ezekiel can tell you, before you get to the point you want to be in, especially in Finland, get ready to do free work, because you won't be paid all the time. You need to prove your value. You need to do what people refer to as pro bono. But when you get that, one thing about that free work is that it gives you experience. You might not get the money you want at that time, but the experience it gives you will set you apart from other people. And why many people, they struggle to establish themselves in IT and security, especially in Finland, is because we want instant gratification. We want, I've started cybersecurity, I've done it for 3 months, I've been reading, I want a job. I want this, I want this, I want. But life is not about instant gratification. It comes with hard work, sacrifice, dedication. And I was talking to one of my colleagues in my workplace. He's an African. And one thing he told me was, he was very funny when he told me, I don't like interacting with most people from Africa. And I'm like, okay, because I'm also African myself. Because I realized from the first time I started speaking to him, he was a bit, giving me that distance. But he told me one thing: us Africans, our mindset is always negative, because we think, okay, Finland is like this. It's we can't succeed. We'll be cleaners, we'll be dishwashers, we'll be nurses. And for him, he didn't want that. He wanted to surround himself with like-minded individuals. So what did he do? He separated himself. He isolated himself from the crowd. So instead of being part of the sheep, he stood out, and it was tough for him, because he had to leave the comfort that he had. Because the cleaning jobs and dishwashing jobs, they'll give you money. I think we've all in this room, we've all done those jobs, and they give you money. She's a Finn and she's done dishwashing, she'll tell you. But the thing is, when you are charting your own path, you need to make a sacrifice, because there are days and there are months that you may not have that money that you want. You can ask Ezekiel himself in what he's doing. It's not that to be where he is today, he started by people giving him money. No. But you start by sacrificing. You don't get that instant gratification you want today. You don't get that money and that salary and those benefits you want today. But when you keep on building and growing, then you reach that level. And it's the same thing with cybersecurity. Just start where you are today, but aim every day to add 1% or just a small amount to what you've learned every day. And by the time, if you assess yourself after 1 year, the person you'll be at the end of the year compared to when you started will be different. Because I remember when I started cybersecurity, I came to my lecturer in Savonia, because I'm in Savonia, like the two of them. And my lecturer, he knew about cybersecurity, but as they will tell you in Savonia cybersecurity, it's now when they are doing a fundamentals course. But at that time there was no cybersecurity. So when I started doing cybersecurity, I was on my own basically. But I I had to sacrifice. I took money, paid for a Google cybersecurity course, did it for 6 months. I had to do it alongside school, which was tough. I had to sacrifice. I dropped doing Walt. I stopped doing Walt so that I could focus on doing that. And when people would meet me around the center, they would be like, "Hey, okay, why are you doing this? Why don't you want to do what we are doing?" But then for me, in my mind, I knew what I wanted to achieve. And it took time because it's from 2023 until getting a job that pays me in 2025. But I don't regret every hour or every minute I took into investing into that, because now when the people who I was urging, let's do cybersecurity together, now is when they're telling me, "Oh, can you share with us the link for the cybersecurity?" But the time has gone, because that window of opportunity that you get, because I believe everything happens for a reason, and why we're here is because probably we've been thinking about what we want to do in Finland, because I don't think any of us came to Finland to be cleaners or dishwashers. I don't think we came for that. Or is it, am I lying? So we want to build a future for ourselves, and it starts with sacrificing. You might not um, it might not take you 1 year or 2 years like it took me. It might take you 5, but are you willing to be resilient? And as he quotes the Bible, there's a character in the Bible, Joseph. It took him 13 years to become the governor of Egypt, but during that 13 years, there were lessons that he was learning. It was molding him, it was shaping him, building his character, building him. And when those 13 years ended, the rest of his life became easy. So it depends with us. If we are ready to stand out, to take our own path, apply what we are learning here into our lives, and say, okay, by the way, I want to build a future for myself. Because with all of us, we have families back home who are looking unto us. They've made sacrifices for us to be here. So do we feel proud to tell them we are cleaners and dishwashers regardless of the money? Or do we want them to see, okay, my son is doing like him? He's a front-end developer for a company in Finland. He's, you know, where we come from, they look at the titles and all those things, because that is what they sacrificed for. Because they didn't sacrifice for their children to be cleaners and dishwashers, regardless of in Finland, it's not a bad job, but there's more to each and every one of us here. That's why it's called the talent mindset, because if we see what talent we have, even if it's small, but we build upon that little we have, like the Bible says, the parable of the talents. If the person given the small talents, he invested it into something else, and it grew and it grew, and you get more. But if you don't use the little you have, it will be taken away from you, and within 2 3 years, we'll be meeting probably in the center, and you'll be complaining about Finland being tough, and me, I'm saying, wow, I've just gotten a bonus from my work. So it depends on where we want to see ourselves in the next few years. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add before I ask your comment, for me, I would say cybersecurity is about principles and fundamentals. Fundamentals and principles never change. Yeah, maybe now the door may be wooden. In the next generation of technology, they might put a metal one, but the point is the same, just to stop people from coming in, and it has to be hard enough to be broken. So I believe you can start at any point in time and get along. So
Yes, for the person are doing in cybersecurity. What do you suggest from where we can start? Shall we start from coding for Python, for example, for cybersecurity purpose? Or
Sorry, before you answer that question, I think I have similar question like him. You know, I got the mail this morning when I was in the lecture room.
Okay.
When I see cybersecurity, I say, wow. Why I say why is because it was just 2 weeks ago I decided where I want to channel.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait, was it the mail from the school?
Yes, from the school.
Oh, okay. You got the mail I'd sent.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I got the mail. I saw it this morning, but it was sent yesterday, I guess.
Oh,
You know, IoT, we are being taught everything.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll be thinking you do physics, math, Java, Python.
Yes, yeah.
I asked myself, what am I learning? Where am I going to?
Yeah.
What am I good at? Some lecturers will ask me, where do you want to go? I'll say, I don't know.
Of course, yeah.
yeah,
I ask people different things. I ask questions a lot.
Yeah.
I go to few meetings. But still, if they ask, where do you want to learn? I don't know. What are you good at? Sure, I'm good in programming. Everybody should be good in programming. It's what you prompt to a AI
Yes.
that it will give you back. And in the way you ask more questions, you'll be able to work on any project. I believe that. Now we want to venture into cybersecurity. I like it. I've been reading some Udemy courses on it and the rest. But we knew in Finland, how do we go about it? At least I believe before you can become someone, you have to be certified.
Yeah.
So we would like a professional to advise us as a student. What steps should we take?
The roadmap.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Good for him.
Just to come and play.
Yeah.
Oh, you're also in IoT, by the way.
Yeah. I'm
See,
first
that's
year
a kind of
student, and
thing.
I am.
When I saw them, I smiled.
Ezekiel knows a lot about my previous experience.
Yes.
He can explain you. But I'm good for her. She is second year student, but I am first year student. I'm pretty confused.
Yeah, you'll be. Don't worry.
I am bombarded by different majors in IoT and whatever I can select right now.
You know, when you talked about certification,
Okay, sorry. Now our time has already come to an end, but we can discuss plus or minus 10 minutes, but we have to be out before 4 p.m.
okay.
Yeah, so maybe we can do 10 minutes and then I have to wrap up the session.
Okay, thank you.
So you talked about certification. You know, for myself, I'm not certified like CISSP or any of those things, but one thing that I did in Savonia when I was there is I did so many projects in cybersecurity, because my biggest concern with IoT is that IoT is too broad. It's not. When I did IoT, we started as 40 people, but when we graduated, we almost. I don't know if we were close to half, because many people leave IoT because of the programming, mathematics, all those things. Because Savonia designed IoT to be kind of an engineering course, and the biggest challenge is that many students come into IoT wanting to do programming, but when you go higher, it becomes so challenging. You start doing, like, I remember in fourth year, the first semester before we did our thesis, we were doing mathematical algorithms, which is crazier. It's way above physics, but it's more complex. And in my career so far, I've not used any of those things, even physics and all those things. So I would say that if you want to stand out in Savonia, especially in the IoT, you'll just have to learn what they bring your way. You'll just have to learn the Java, learn the physics, just try and get by. But what I would say, if I was a student starting in first year like you are, um, build within your lecturers, build, uh, let them associate cybersecurity with you, because when they do that, when opportunities open up internally, like research projects and all those things, the first person they look for is you, because Savonia hires students internally, like for the, I've forgotten the name of Savonia, I don't know if it's Water Lab or something, but they hire students to do projects within, and it's
Talent hub, you know.
not Talent Hub, it's a R&D department in Savonia, but where um, the dog robot is, I've forgotten the name, because one of my friends worked there. But whenever they have internal opportunities, the person that they look for is you, because they'll say, okay, by the way, we've seen this gentleman and he's good in cyber, he's interested. In Savonia, when they know you're interested, then whenever there's anything in cybersecurity, you'll be the first person they'll reach out to. Another thing is, do projects. You are still in the early stages of IT, of IoT. When you get to third year, when you start needing the internships of 15 credits, if you've not done projects, it becomes really challenging for you to get a job in Finland. I went through it when I was applying for my third year. I applied everywhere in Finland. Every job for cybersecurity I applied, and I got none, because I didn't have any evidence to show what I've done. Because I'm doing IoT. There's someone in Laurea who's doing bachelor's in business administration in cybersecurity. They've done projects. In Laurea, I talked to one student who did the BBA in cybersecurity. Uh, they've done so many projects. They've been to hackathons. They've done a lot of ethical hacking, all those things. So they have evidence. So when we come together, I'm an IoT student. I'm like scrambled eggs. I have onions,
Everything.
tomatoes, everything inside. But this person is a simple egg, but he has just the salt that you need for the egg that you want. So they get more interviews because their university connects them with employers, especially from Expo. They get recruited. Companies come to Laurea to look for students for cybersecurity, and it's big companies like Accenture. I don't know. I can't remember the other companies, but companies in Helsinki. So they have an advantage over you. So you're already disadvantaged even compared to a Finn if you're looking at it. So how do you get that advantage as an IoT student? IoT students, we are good. What is our benefit is, as I was talking to one of the lecturers, I think you know Marco.
Yeah.
He told me that IoT in 2027 there's going to be a directive about cybersecurity, and it's going to be about all IoT devices, laptops, everything needs to be security certified by 2027. So as an IoT student, you have the benefit because you specialize in everything. Anything that interacts with the internet, you know how it functions. So if you can combine that plus projects within the school, learn, like Clovis is, you two are good at, I would also assume you're good at programming.
No. No, unfortunately.
Okay.
He can explain you about more.
I will talk more after, but what I would say is that get projects you do, even if you won't be paid, but make sure you document. And as Ezekiel was posting on LinkedIn, showcase it, talk about it, because employers, they look at your LinkedIn. I was surprised when I joined my job, and one of the colleagues told me, I've been looking at your LinkedIn from the time you applied for the job, and we've been following your LinkedIn. And I'm like, okay, okay, fine. He even gave me a report about what I've been posting. He told me, this is what you've been posting, or this is the things you've done, this and this and this. So they're always looking. As he said, people will look. So don't just document, but showcase it. You have LinkedIn, and I think you would also have LinkedIn, and you also have, and we all have.
Have but not function.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
thing is, LinkedIn right now is one of the places whereby you can get job offers without even applying for jobs, because people will be like Clovis, for example. I always comment on his posts. When I comment, people within my network see what I've commented on, and within my network I may have recruiters or people who are looking for jobs, and they look at his post and be like, okay, by the way, who's this gentleman doing this? They'll note you, and when they are talking internally, when they are hiring candidates, they'll be like, by the way, this person actually has been doing these things, so why don't we call she or he for an interview? So document whatever you're doing, and with IoT, just for me, I know it would sound rude, but I'll just say survive through IoT. Survive, just push through, because that degree is very lucrative in Finland, because it's one of the most challenging bachelor's courses in Finland, because you are doing everything. You'll do electrical measurements, you'll do all those things, but if you combine that with cybersecurity, you become very strong, because a BBA student is taken like a business administration student. You're taken as an IoT engineer specializing in cybersecurity, specializing in maybe software development, and when you might not get the jobs probably immediately, but people who I know who've done IoT, who've documented their work, who've done a lot of projects, they get so many interviews from companies, and they're foreigners like us. But what makes them get interviews that we say that as a foreigner have not gotten interviews? They have projects, they have connections, they've done so many things behind the scenes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I will also conclude by just adding very few points, maybe in about 3 minutes. Number one, I would say have the entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah, too bad many people say they don't want to become business people, but I'll say having the entrepreneurial mindset is necessary. Yeah, because that's the foundation of how everything works. Yeah, and why do I say so? I say so because university is not supposed to be a place where you will know what you want. That's supposed to be a place where you pick where you need to become stronger. Yeah, so perhaps you should have, actually the expectation is you should have known before you get to the university where do you want to go. So they have to do many things so that you can pick like, okay, I want to be stronger in this area and concentrate more. That's why they will come and ask you, so what do you want to do? Because they expect you to know exactly what do you want to do. Yeah, so my advice is, now taking the context of Kuopio, all you need to do is pick your market segment. And what do I mean when I say market segment? Now, in relation to cybersecurity, who do you think need this service? So, for example, like I had to ask you, what do you think about cybersecurity? And some of you said, okay, for me, she said, of course, that for me, I didn't think it concerns me. She should be your first customer. She should be your first customer because she has no idea, but she is always interacted within the networks. So you can tell she needs. If she needs, then she is your customer. So a lot of people have no idea about these things in Kobe, except that for we as international students, the only customer we have in mind is the operating companies to hire us. Unfortunately, they don't announce new positions every day. You may try even to think, even in your home country, what company every day or every month they announce new position? What company is there? No such companies. Yeah, so as long as there are companies, they have hire people. Maybe if somebody quit, it could be 1 or 2 persons in a year. That's the rate of employment. You may have it's so much difficult, yeah, but as an alternative, think of other people who might need your service and try to help them. You never know, by helping them, you also equip yourself. That's how you also broaden your network. Your network doesn't mean people who are talking back to you, because people get it wrong when they say grow your network. They think these are the people, I must have their number and call them every day. Some people have 10,000 people in their networks, not because they talk to them, but because we know you are doing this thing. So that's how I invited Suubi here. Yeah, not because we always meet and talk, but because I know he's doing cybersecurity. And by doing this session, now we have, now if my TikTok tells me right, we have about 463 people looking, watching this session now. So now they have heard from Mr. Suubi, and they know now he's good. If he's going to announce later, maybe he's doing some course in cybersecurity, that means he has better chance of finding someone to pay for the course or something like that. So this is how you stand out. Yeah, so just be active as you advise, go to some meetings, ask some questions around. Guys, so what about this? Do you guys know anything about cybersecurity? I was, for example, now even ask that as a business, what do you do? For you as an expert, I'm not an expert in cybersecurity. I just like to ask questions. But from asking questions, then you will know, oh, these guys, they have no idea about cybersecurity. That means they are my customers. You go now and pitch, guys, you have no idea. I have this package. If you want, I can give it to you. You just need to hire me or pay me. And that's all we need to learn. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for coming. Thank you so much, Suubi.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, I believe the discussion was fruitful, so much important. Yeah, now I will be wrapping up this thing, so I may not talk to you now, but you have time to talk to each other, and then we need to be out by 4 o'clock so that they can close the door.